I'm Mike, and welcome back to the workshop. So this week I'm going to do a project I've been meaning to do for quite a while. I'm an avid collector of books and I always need more space to store my books. So I'm going to make a set of bookends, but not just one. This is going to be a two-part series in the Woodworking on a Budget series. This week I'm going to show you how to make a simple set of bookends that's easily accessible to anyone at any skill level. And then next week we're going to up the skills and I'm going to show you how to make fancy dancy super great bookends that'll impress your friends using dovetail joinery. This will be the first in a series of advanced joinery that I'll be doing on this series. So let's bring you down to the table. I'll show you the design and talk you through what I'm going to do. So basically I'm calling these dovetail bookends. So we're going to make our bookends in the shape of dovetails. Again, one will be made with screws and the other I'm going to use dovetails on. It's a very simple little design. The first thing I need to do was I need to go find a selection of my books and make sure that this dimension here was higher than the center point of my highest books. So I have a selection of big and small books that I've taken from my bookshelf of hundreds. And the tallest book I have here is Bressinger and it's 230. So I'm going to go ahead and make my height 150 to make sure that when that gable is sitting up against it to stop the book falling over, we're well above the midpoint so the book can't fall out over. Now to carefully put these back in my bookcase where they belong, because books don't belong in workshops unless they're books on woodworking, in which case, yeah. So first in the jogging block here, I have two pieces of scrap. I'm not going into my cook pile for this. So this piece is nice, thicker. I'm going to use it to make my dovetails. And I'm going to use this very beautiful, totally clean piece of pallet to make the screw together one. So for this, I'm going to 150 each way. So I need about 300. And I have it between these two knots. So I'm just going to cut off the bits I don't want and then cut my sizes. Now, I've shown the technique of marking and hand cutting before in my other videos, so the next time you'll see all of this, it'll be chopped up and ready to go, and we'll move on to the next step. Right, so now we have our two bits cut, and I've sanded them as well. When I work with pallet wood, I like to leave a little bit of the roughness on, just for an effect. So the next thing to do then is to cut these two angles that we have here to create our dovetails. This is very simple. I just put a number on it, so I'm going to, initially I was going to have 150, but this material is only 140, so I'm going to go from 140 to 110, see how it looks, and see how we go. As I'm going through this, I want to pick which is going to be my upward side and which is going to be my downward side, and there's a little bit of a bow in these, but the screws will pull them in. So I want it to be longer on the face that's going up. These are both the same length, so if I put this one on top of this, that's going to be plus the dimension. So I'm just going to place that there and mark this, so now I know where I'm coming from when I come from here, and experiment. So like I said, this is 148, so I'm just going to come in, let's say 20 mil from either side, see how it looks. And I'll be applying these dimensions then to our dovetail one, so there'll be somewhat of a matching set. So even before I'm finished here, I can tell you I don't think this is enough. No. Right, so I'm going to come in 30 mil from either side. is going to be my mark line. And when you're doing a project in general, making something out of lesser materials, cheaper materials, first, in essence, modeling is a great way to work. It gives you visual output and you can avoid all the things that go wrong. The first one and the second one, so when you're using your better materials, you're going to have a better output. You're avoiding your mistakes, technically. So on this one that's going to be the bottom, I'm still going to come in 30. I don't want exactly be the same, but that's okay. The difference is I'm going to come from that line I marked. That is the width of our material on the side. So something like that. Now I know this might be very hard to see because I'm using a pencil. I'll just go over that pen to make it a bit easier to see. So I'll just go over this with pen so it's easier for you to see. The pen works. So now we have those lines, mark which side is going to be our cut off line, and we'll just cut those off with our handsaw and then plane them down to the sides, and that's this nearly done. So again here, this is just repetitive work, cutting that angle, and as I've said in many videos before, you want to follow down two sides, a square at the top and your line at the front, and then it'll be a square cut. And around now I'll just skip forward to the final cut. So now it comes the time to join these two. So again, I'm going to do the same thing here. There's a little bit of a curve in this, but I'll sand it out. So I'll put that there like that. Mark where I'm going, and then mark in my hole. You also have to come in about 30 or 40 mil from the edge to stop splitting the timber. I'm going to put 3 holes in this. Just grab a piece of what it looked like prior as my base. Now these holes will be in the bottom, so we won't need to hide them. But there is one little trick coming. So, now that I have those screwed together, I'm going to put my piece on top, and we can line it up because we've set them to the same width. We can line it up this way. I'm going to bow inwards. So just line it up and stick in our screws. And we have one end we can adjust, make sure we're straight. And one more in. That's that basically done. But it seems to me to be a little bit back heavy. So I'm just going to see, like that's quite strong. So back here now I have my books. Yeah, that's working, but I think it's too heavy. So I'm going to make an on-the-fly decision here. So I did a little bit of back and forth looking at it until eventually I decided to cut 30mm off the base. When I had taken it apart to cut off this extra 30mm, I also remembered I hadn't put in any wood glue, so I did that at the same time. And I'll just forward these decisions I've made on design onto the dovetail one I'll make next week. Like I said, it's always great to make a mock-up of everything first, and you can make these on-the-fly decisions and mistakes on lesser material. So I think with that little tweak it looks a lot better. There's one more element to add, which is this guy here, a little stabilizer. So essentially all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece lengthwise like this, down at an angle, and then that's just going to get stuck in there. Right, so now I have enough cleaned up that I can mark on this. So it's vital that this corner here that's going to go in there is 90 degrees. That's the whole point of this, to give it strength. So I'm just going to mark point here. Say I want it to go up 100, which is pretty much what I guessed. So say 100 in 40, which I've already marked. Now we're going to cut that, clean the edge. So that's pretty good. Now, here is where I break an unwritten rule when it comes to woodworking. That's using super glue as a glue for putting stuff together. Don't tell anyone. I'm going to find my center on this here, and then mark where I want this to be. So 146. So half of 146 would be 73. Mark it up there. I'll extend that line. This doesn't need to be perfect, so extend that line. Then I'll know where I'm putting this in to get it centered. And this is the trick. I'm going to take a bit of this super glue. Now this is a 2-part super glue with an activator, but you can use normal super glue, obviously. What I'm going to do, I'm going to apply that activator, let it dry for just a second, and then when no one is looking, we're just going to push that into place and hold it until the glue dries. All joking aside, super glue is extremely handy in the workshop. You should always have some super glue. Nothing beats super glue when you have a chip broke out or something like that. But because it's brittle, it's generally not the best glue to use with timber. But for the sake of what I'm doing here, just to hold that in place, just to keep this at 90, it's never going to be an issue. And these are meant to be rustic. So, I have one of these beautiful little things. Now all I need to do is make another one, because one bookend is pretty much so useless. Now luckily, like good TV chefs, here's one I prepared earlier. Now I have two. Now it's finishing time. And what oh what will I use for finish? If you've watched any of my videos, you know what's coming next. Danish oil! I just love Danish oil. It's so simple, right? So let's get to seeing how this rustic timber looks with that Danish oil. It's going to make all those scars and stains just pop. It's gorgeous. And then I'll show you that it works by putting a load of books on it and hoping they don't fall over, so I don't have egg as well as copious amounts of sweat on my face. To be fair, I mean, just look at how the Danish oil makes this beat up, stained pallet timber just bounce. This is why I like using reclaimed materials, because you can see the life that it's had when you have it finished. But this has been a mostly me talking video, so how about some music while I finish doing this and show you the glory shots. So that's it. We have these nice set of beautiful rustic bookends that'll fit most people's decor. I know some people don't like the palette look, but I happen to really like it, and I don't like wasting stuff. So get out there and try this. And don't forget, next week we have the super duper super great dovetail set that'll impress all your friends. Thank you all for staying to the end of the video. Like, subscribe, comment, and absolutely do try this at home.